Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest is a Canadian born, internationally touring country rock singer and recording artist. He was a world ranked touring tennis professional, and in a split second, his life changed forever. He was a passenger in a severe career-ending car accident that left him seriously injured and devastated about his future. Nothing short of a miracle and a testament to his determination and passion, he went on to become a world-class musician with a 3-octave range. He plays guitar and piano and has recorded and performed with many multi-platinum acts, including Slash of Guns N' Roses, the Beach Boys, and Vince Neil of Mötley Crüe. So, let's spill the tea with Eric Sage. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Tell us about that life. Tell us about growing up and in the tennis world and how that developed your work ethic that you used later on to promote this second career.
Um, well, it all started in Toronto, and my dad was loved tennis and loved sports, and he was an actual entertainer, and he said, "I want to keep you guys out of this field, and let's do tennis." I often joke that because it's much easier to make it in tennis. Um, but so the game plan was at a very young age, I was probably about 5 when I started, and went on to develop. I was ranked number one in Canada under 14. And I trained a couple of tennis clubs in Toronto. One was Baby Village Tennis Club,
Mm-hmm.
and I hold near and dear to my heart. And that was a hard court. And then on clay, North York Tennis Club was clay courts. And that's where I trained until a little later when I was around 12, 13. I went to Florida to train with Nick Bollettieri at his world famous tennis academy, and just went through the years. And life was basically, you got up very early. I actually do some running training before school, then school, and we got out early to be on the court at around 1. And we'd play for about 4 hours every day on court, and then some off court training, maybe a quick dinner, and then study homework, to bed, and do it again. And that was, from a very young age, uh, 8, 9, 10, all the way up through, I ended up getting a college scholarship to San Diego State University. And from there, went on the pro tour and was really fortunate, got a world ranking and was climbing up the ranks. And that was kind of living that dream, and things were going pretty well. And then out of nowhere, uh, just a passenger in a car accident, and everything changed.
Now, you have this car accident, which changes your life. You have a severe back injury. Give us an idea of that transition period where you have the accident. I'm sure it took you a while to come to terms with the fact that this was going to end your career. And how did you deal with that and then transition into this music career?
Yeah, at first you think, okay, I can get through this. And it was actually my back and my neck, which made it, a little tougher. And I started out with physical therapy, and that went on for a year, and it kept not quite, couldn't get back. And then we did a couple of years of physical therapy, really giving it everything I had to get back. And at that level, with the long matches, it just, you have to be at the top of your game. So that was like, okay, I think this is now becoming a reality. Your whole life's work is all of a sudden somewhat gone. I did some child acting in Toronto, actually.
Hmm.
So I knew that world, and I got some work in LA. One being the guitar salesman in the movie Wayne's World. And so next to me, I find myself in this world of Mike Myers is one side. Next to him, Dana Carvey. Over right here is Rob Lowe. He's in it, and Tia Carrera, and all this wonderful cast of people. And Mike was just one of those guys out of nowhere, jumps up, pulls down his pants, had his underwear on, and starts running around the room doing this imitation of something. And I'm like, this is really happening right now. Like, what is going on? I realize I don't think acting is my true passion, you know, and what really is what am I don't want to teach tennis, honestly, for the rest of my life. What do I love? And I just kind of knew. I said I've always loved music. Another quick story is I'm at a concert with my best buddy. This is probably early 90s-ish maybe, and it was an Ozzy Osbourne show.
Mhm.
And the opening band comes out, and the singer, great looking guy, long hair, had his shirt off, he's sweating, the girls are screaming. And I'm in the audience, like staring, going, I'm sick of coming to these concerts, being the one watching. I literally, I remember the moment I like turned to my buddy. We both had a beer in hand, not a, well, a Canadian beer, we'll call it. And I go, I know what I'm going to do with my life. And he's, we've had a couple beers, and he goes, what, man? We're watching the show. And I go, um, I'm going to be a singer. And he kind of starts laughing like I'm messing around. I go, Actually more of a rock star than a singer, but I'll work." And
I'll
he
start I'll start off at
I'll
singer.
start up as a singer. And he kind of goes, all right, man, cool, Eric. And that was that. And I get home that day, I go get a karaoke machine and the whole shebang. And I had made this decision. I was dead serious. And that's all of a sudden I laid into that. And my first thought was I need lessons because I've got to get great technique. I knew this from tennis. So I traded with a guy that I was a singing teacher, and we traded for tennis lessons. And I just started to go to work on this new thing.
Let's talk about being on stage. You've been on stage and recorded with some pretty big names. Um, you've been on stage with Slash. You've been, with the Beach Boys. I can understand Beach Boys. Now you're a Canadian boy living on the west coast of
Sure.
the United States at the moment. You've got the blonde hair, the good looks. You've got the beach look about you. I think I teased you the other day. I asked you if you were heading out to the beach, and
Love to, but I'm practicing my guitar.
you're practicing.
No, actually, I could practice on the beach.
You-
So,
and with member of the Motley Crue. So what's it like to be on stage at that level? Do you get the same rush being on the stage with those pros as you did when you were on center court?
oh, that's a great question. Very similar feelings. Um, very obviously very different situations. So one, the tennis is very pressure packed.
Mm.
You've trained your mind to really be calm and stay in the moment and block out the thousands, the people watching it and this and that, and you're just trying to get into this zone. And with the music, there is a connection that I actually want and love with the audience and my band members, and you're really immersed in this, energy. So such a great question, and they're similar and very similar, and then very different. And I feel blessed to have worked with some of these guys and so many other great people. And I was mentioning the trip of it all is because I started so late. Um, when took me about 12 years to get good. I did my first show at a little bar, and they paid me $50. I said, I've done it. I made it. I
You
did it.
made it. You're
I've made,
you're a pro. You're a pro.
I said, if I could do this a couple times a month and then teach tennis thing, man, I can't believe it. I had no, imagination that all of a sudden it would just keep going and going and going. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But to be on stage with those guys, it's really cool. Like just Oh, that's the nice thing is really cool people.
Now, I would imagine there are a lot fewer young women, throwing their undergarments at you at a tennis court compared to a rock concert. You probably get a little more of that at the rock concert.
I would say definitely I definitely how do I word this? Definitely in the moment you're getting hit with God knows what. Whereas tennis, it's a little bit after the match, they're kind of quietly
Uh,
hi. I
asking
mean,
for
I'm
asking
kidding.
for
I
your
mean, we
autograph.
autograph stuff and let me go grab a drink. But yeah, yeah, the rock world is very God, man, it's fun. It's exciting. And it's really different than the sports because you can go, I'll have a couple drinks, let's go have some fun. The whole thing is that part of it, whereas the
Right.
tennis is the opposite.
Right. It's come off the court and get on a bike or
No partying,
into
you
a
know.
yeah, and do that. Let's get into one of the songs that Eric wrote. This song is an all Canadian country rock anthem. It's loaded with catchy hooks and references only a Canadian will understand. Let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Eric Sage and his song, Canadian Beer.
I used to party on Muskoka Lakes. That was back before a local kid named Drake grabbed a 28 piece radio set. That's a 2-4 couple chairs, boombox and cassette. But the years keep rolling and get lost in the crush. So get a cold one flowing and crank up some rush. We've all been working for the weekend, now it's finally here. So raise up a cold Canadian beer and drive down the tailgate, get this in a gear. Now it's time to party. Take Canadian beer. Canadian beer. When we raise the flag, you know it's time to rock. You gotta light the lamp to make it to the top. We got patio lanterns, black calls in the shade. This one's for you and it's time to get paid. We've all been working for the weekend, now it's finally here. So raise up a cold Canadian beer and drive down the tailgate, get this in a gear. Now it's time to party. Take Canadian beer. Canadian beer. Well, I rock California, Paris and Rome, but when I see the northern lights, I know that I'm back home, yeah. In Vancouver, Calgary Stampede, rolling in the 6, I know what you need. And the lights go down, a guitar in my hand. I'm gonna light up this crowd. That's why they call me a working man. They call me the working man. I guess that's what I am. We've all been working for a weekend, now it's finally here. So raise up a cold Canadian beer and drive down the tailgate, get this in a gear. Now it's time to party. We've all been working for a weekend, now it's finally here. Come on and grab a 2-4 Canadian beer and drive down the tailgate, get this in a gear. Now it's time to party. Take Canadian beer. Canadian beer. Canadian beer. Canadian beer.
That was Canadian Beer by Eric Sage. Eric, if people didn't realize already, we know that you're on the west coast of the United States. You made your way down there to San Diego when you went to school, and you've had a good run down in the United States, but your heart is still Canadian. So tell us about the song. What's the song about, and what inspired you to write this song?
Um, I think partially anytime I see anything Canadian on TV, the Olympics was just on. Sorry, I dated that. And just anything when I see Canadian, I literally get when they say it warms your heart. That's the feeling. You know, when you're telling me the streets you live on or what area, I'm like, I miss it. I miss it. And so whenever I go back, it's really special. So, but I was in the States and I just had my guitar and I was thinking about, gosh, my buddies, and we used to go to hockey games and we used to go to the CNE or the PNE and we'd go to all these, just events. And I thought it was always fun and we'd always like hang out and there was kind of that connection and we'd have a couple beers and hang out and we each guy had their kind of favorite Canadian beer they liked and or gal. And I just it was like this light bulb went off in my head a little bit. I had my guitar and there's this riff going around and I was just like, God, man, I've been working all week, man, be nice to finally get to the weekend and have a cold one. And it was kind of that little spark that, but I was like, not just a cold one, like it's got to be one I love, like a Canadian beer. That's what I love. And I was like, oh man. And I bet there's tons of songs out there like that. And I thought, because I had started writing it and stuff, and looked and was like, there's no song called that. And I was like, wow, okay. And as I started to writing the verses, I was really kind of thought I wanted to build this from my journey growing up and being in Muskoka on the lakes as a kid. And I'd heard this saying that a Canadian patio set was a 2-4 and a chair, and it was called 25-piece patio set. I remember this somebody said this stuff, and I went, "That's a brilliant line." And I went, "The thing was, is we had our 2-4, we had a couple chairs as far as with my girl, whatever, but I'd also always have my boombox." Got to have music. And of course, for my boombox, I had to have cassette. So I said, actually, I had a 28-piece patio set. Always.
You're a rich kid.
Right. I had the good times in life. And that was how the verse opened. We had a 28-piece patio set, 2-4, a couple of chairs, boombox, and cassette.
Eric, how do people find out more about you? What's the website? What are the socials? What's the streaming? Where can they go to find out more about you, your music?
Thanks for asking. Website's ericsage.com. Instagram is Eric Sage Official.
That's right.
Okay, and YouTube. I'm really proud of the video for Canadian beer.
We have been in conversation with Eric Sage. Eric, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, David. I really appreciate your time, and take off, eh?